Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, good morning, and welcome to the South Carolina Statehouse on one of the most exciting days in South Carolina. We would ask that you keep this center area clear so we have a clear line of sight here with the cameras. We want to thank especially our legislative leaders, our civic partners, and the many South Carolinians who care deeply about the future of our state. Today is about something both simple and ambitious, creating a disciplined, a structured process where everyday South Carolinians can identify shared priorities and give lawmakers clear and credible guidance. This initiative is rooted in partnership. It brings together leaders from different parties, different backgrounds, and different sectors who share one conviction: that serious engagement produces serious results. With that, I am honored to introduce our legislative leaders who are helping to anchor this effort. And right now I would like to ask Representative Brandon Newton to join me, a South Carolina State Representative from Lancaster and co-lead of the bipartisan Future Caucus committed to responsible legislative leadership. Representative? Oh, fantastic.
Thank y'all very much for being here. What a great day. It is so cool to see this wonderful initiative that was just an idea not that long ago turning into reality. And so I'm so excited to be here with my colleagues from across the aisle and also from across the hallway in the Senate. This is truly a way for us to plug our constituents into the process and figure out what we can do to work together to build bridges and to build consensus. That should be something we all strive for every day in this job. I'm excited that we have SC Forum here to start that process. With the Future Caucus, Senator Tedder and I were approached originally about this, and I told them I would love to do it in South Carolina, and they've really run with it. I'm excited to work with Andrew, with Dave, with Trav, and everybody else you're going to see as we plug in the people of South Carolina into this process. We plugged them into the process of having an input into their state government and giving us not only what they want us to do, but give us a guidance on why. Why does it matter to them that this state is what it is? And I'm so excited to get to be a part of that. Thank you to all my colleagues who are here today supporting this. And I'm so excited to see what the people of South Carolina tell us through this process. With that, thank y'all so much. I'm going to turn it over to Dave and Trav.
It's like a good Democrat to be a little bit late to the party.
Thank you. Thank you.
When we were approached a while back about what can be done to actually engage people in South Carolina more, I went back to a college friend of mine who I've been debating with for years. And so often we have been on the opposite side of things as Republicans and Democrats. But the one thing we know that we have in common is that we love the state of South Carolina. And there are more places that we find commonality than we find differences. We spend most of our time arguing over the differences,
He's wrong.
I'm wrong again, there you go. But what we do know is this: it is so important for the voice of South Carolinians to be heard and to be given a chance to actually express itself. And that's what the South Carolina Forum is all about.
My life has afforded me the opportunity to participate in every election cycle since 1996 in this state, with the exception of 2014. The reason I say that is because I have always fought tooth and nail for the ideas, the values that I hold dear in my candidates and my political party. But we're at a crossroads in this country, we're at a crossroads in this state, an inflection point, to where I would always be the one who bought the first beer for everybody, Republican and Democrat at the bar, and to sit and just talk. We've lost that in this state, and we've lost that in this country, because I know that as many times as Dave and I have fought one another as political opponents, we've never hated each other. We've respected each other's right to disagree, but we've lost the ability to disagree without being disagreeable. And so we've joined together to help create the forum we have put together an online platform so that people can come together, deliberate, use the Socratic method to talk about ideas, and then we take those ideas, we rank them, and then we bring a segment of that group of people together, and they deliberate, they talk in a civil manner about those ideas. And so that people like me who've been part of the solution and part of the problem, they come together, they talk about it, and every independent, swing voter, Republican, and Democrat in that room, they all have to agree to a tune of about 70%. And then we get those ideas and we pass them on to our legislative partners. And then hopefully at some point this will evolve into where you've got citizens working directly with legislators that come together for common ideas. But at the end of the day, we're putting together a platform that only needs participation. It doesn't matter what your political ideology is, and this is being done in phases. From January until March, we have been doing a pre-launch online and digitally. And just in a short span time of a matter of weeks, we have had over 12,000 people participate or go onto our website to see what this is about. That tells me everything I need to know. The fact that you all are here and all of these folks from different walks of the political spectrum are here. And so with that, we're going to let you hear from some of our legislators who are leaders. And then did you have someone you want to introduce? You want me to start with my team
You
first?
start with your team.
All right, I'm going to introduce Senator Tameika Devine, and then we'll go to Representative Bernstein. Senator, come on up.
Thank you all so much for being here. This is an exciting day. It truly is a great day in South Carolina when you can get people together who are about making sure that public service truly is public service. But it's not about those that we elect, but it's about how we come together to bring solutions. And so I'm excited to be part of the advisory team. I just left a committee meeting and we were talking about SNAP benefits. And one of the things that we were talking about is none of us disagreed that we have to work to keep people healthier. The issue was, how do we bring people together around real solutions that address the problem? It's fine for us to debate the issues, but if we're not getting the community involved, people who have lived experiences, we can never come up with solutions that will impact South Carolinians in a positive way. And so today, we're launching an opportunity to get citizens involved, be part of the solutions, be part of talking to get legislation that will make South Carolina better. And so I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited for what we see to come.
It is so loud here today, so hopefully you can hear me. I feel like I'm screaming. Gavin, can you hear me over there?
Okay. That's on here.
Okay.
I'm paying attention.
You've got it, the most important one.
My name is Beth Bernstein. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a rep here in Columbia, and this is my 14th year being in the legislature. And I'm a Democrat, and serving these last 14 years, I've kind of seen a change. For one thing, now we have a supermajority, and we've lost the ability to work together. And to put the power and the voice back into the people of South Carolina is, I think, the goal here. We need to be able to work together and work on issues like Trav said, you can disagree, but there's a respect when you disagree. And there's all about compromise, but we need to hear from the people of South Carolina, not just the fringe groups, the extreme groups, or the special interest groups. We need to hear from the South Carolinian, the bulk of South Carolina. And so when 70% of the group of 100, I think it's 100,000, come together with issues, that's where you're going to dictate for us legislative action and what policies are important. I think we all agree that education, healthcare, safety, affordability, things like that, we all agree on. So I'm not sure where the gridlock happens. I think because we're not listening to everybody. We're only listening to the loudest group. So I'm really, really proud to be able to serve on this advisory committee, and I look forward to working with South Carolinians who want to make South Carolina the best place to live and work together and stop the divisiveness and all of the noise. Y'all need to have a seat at the table, and I think this is what's going to give you the seat at the table. So thank you for allowing me to say a couple words, and I look forward to seeing, the product that this organization, South Carolina Forum, is going to produce. So thank you.
We'd like you to hear real quick, too, from a representative from Horry County, Carla Schussler, who has been such a dynamic force in getting everybody involved. Would you?
Yeah. Well, good morning, and I'm just honored to be here with so many of my colleagues, and I really want to thank everyone that's worked so hard to put this together. I'm fairly new into serving in the legislature. This is my 4th year, and what I've learned very quickly is that we have gotten away from the art of working together, the art of negotiation and compromise. And so I've had the opportunity this year to work on some bills where we brought people together for the common goal. We found out what we could work on together and had everybody's input and came out with some good legislation. I think this is going to be more of that, so I'm so excited to be a part of it. Honored to be here and honored to start working together. This is like going and knocking on doors, right? This is what you do when you go out in your district and talk to the people that live there, talk to the people that you represent, whether they are of your party or not, whether they voted or not. We represent everyone in our district. This is a way to hear from all of them and to hear what matters to them and work on those things together. So I'm just grateful to be here, and thank you so much.
And so I'd like to take just a moment to call up Senator Jeffrey Graham and Senator Ed Sutton, if they would come up and just address the crowd.
It's an honor to be here with you today, and it's an exciting time. And Senator Sutton and I have enjoyed our new experience being a part of the Senate. And one of the things that both of us stand for is making sure that South Carolinians get heard about issues. And so already day one, we started to deal with issues from the business side, from our communities. And what we know, and what y'all are going to continue to tell us, is that the people want this, or the people want that. And so what I can assure you is the two of us are very passionate about doing what South Carolinians want. And I think this kind of organization gives us the strength to go to our body and say, hey, this is what the public says. This is what my neighbor says. And what we often get shot down on is that this is not what they want. This is a great opportunity for us to stand together and fight for the things that matter to you at home, in our neighborhoods, and at our kitchen table. And so we talk about that together. We talk about it often when we start talking about, is it this business, is it that? What does it do if we don't work together? And so what we have spent a lot of time this year working on is relationships, building that coalition that cares more about South Carolinians than they care about this particular group or that particular group. And so it's been an exciting time for the two of us and all of our colleagues to work together in the Senate. What you'll find in the Senate, at least today, is the willingness and the able to work together. And I hope that you'll continue to see that. But if you bring your issues and these issues together as we sit around a table and talk about them, I think that the two of us will continue to work together. So I would turn it over to Senator Sutton at this time.
Awesome. What Jeffrey said.
Thank y'all so much.
And now we are delighted to welcome to the lectern our former actor, entrepreneur, and really visionary, the man who provided not only the original idea for this, but also the seed funding, and really put his money where his mouth is when it comes to launching the South Carolina Forum and sacrificing for the future of South Carolina. Andrew Shue.
Thank you, Catherine. What a day. What a wonderful day in South Carolina. They said if you can make this happen in South Carolina, you can make this happen in any place in America. And these people all here, all these faces and these voices, they have decided to take back their country together, peacefully, the way we do when we have real self-government. And so the process behind the forum is all about giving that agency, giving that voice, and giving that power to the people. And we know that we've gone astray. We know that there's division in this country. We know that we have systems that are not working properly. And we also know that there isn't a partisan fix to these problems. The American people must be the ones who drive that change, and they must drive it together. If we start facing these problems together instead of facing off against each other, we can do this. So we have tested all the components of this process in 3 different states, in New Hampshire and Missouri and Kentucky. And for the first time, we're putting it all together here in South Carolina. We're inviting in 100,000 citizens. As Trav said, there's already 12,000 people who've come onto the platform. They want to do this. They want to be called. And I am so impressed with the legislative leaders who say, we want to be part of it. We want to be steering and helping and doing this in partnership with the people. This is not adversarial. This is a huge moment. We must succeed with this. If we succeed here and in the 2 other states, in New Hampshire and Nevada, we will tell a story in 2027 to the country that we want to end to this cold civil war. We know that we care about each other, have similar values, care about our kids and our grandkids, and we are not letting America and this incredible country start to sink. We are going to lift it up. And the people right here, it's on their shoulders. The first person I met with when I came down here 10 months ago was Drew McKissick, the head of the Republican Party. The second person was Crystal Spain, the head of the Democratic Party. She introduced me to Trav. Trav introduced me to Dave. And Dave introduced me to Push Digital, the Republican firm, who introduced us to the Democratic firm. We're coming out in pairs. This is Noah's Ark. We are going to do this together. This is the right idea in the right place at the right time. Thank you for being here.
The spirit of bipartisanship is the most important part of what we're looking at with this, because this is not R or D, this is SC. We are South Carolinians bringing voices together, and one of the things that we have tried to do is to make sure that our team is just as reflective of the state as anything else. We brought Republicans and Democrats together to say we've got to go out into our community to ask for and hear the voice of folks. So we'd like to introduce you to 2 of our team members, Michelle Brandt from Charleston County and Jennifer Cunningham from right here in Richland County.
Good morning, and I'm going to try to speak up. I'm normally soft-spoken, but I'm going to try to project my voice this morning. I've spent years working in communities across our state, sitting with families, local leaders, and organizations trying to solve real problems in real time. I've been in classrooms with parents worried about their children's future, and in community conversations where people want progress but feel like no one is really listening. And in my role as second vice chair of the South Carolina Republican Party, I also see the governing side, where leaders are asked to make difficult decisions while navigating pressure from every direction. I got involved in public life because I saw what was possible when people truly had a voice in shaping their own future. But I've also seen how quickly narratives take hold and how often the loudest voices get mistaken for the majority. But loud is not the same as consensus. That's why I joined the South Carolina Forum, and that's why the South Carolina Forum matters. It creates a disciplined way to hear people, find common good, and move forward with confidence. When people are brought into the same conversation, agreement appears more often than we expect. Not forced agreement, but shared understanding. And when broad consensus become clear, when a strong majority begins to emerge, uncertainty drops, risk is reduced, and leaders can act decisively. Consensus also lowers political volatility. Policies grounded in shared priorities are more stable, more durable, and having clear, trusted data also gives leaders the clarity they need to govern with confidence. South Carolina has an opportunity to lead by modeling something different. Not louder conversations, but more meaningful ones. And when we choose to listen, to understand, and to work together, we don't just move discussion forward, we move our state forward. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Brandt. I have spent my career working with leaders across the state. I've put my own name on the ballot twice, and I have served as the third vice chair of the South Carolina Democratic Party. In that role, my mission was to engage the youth. But I'll be honest, that was a massive challenge. It is incredibly hard to convince a young person to engage in a system where they feel like their voice doesn't matter, especially when they live in a gerrymandered district where the outcome feels decided before they even cast a vote. Now, as the Faith and Young Adult Outreach Director of the South Carolina Forum, I've been traveling the state talking to Republicans and Democrats. What I've found is refreshing. The struggles I see in Democratic circles, like the crisis of affordable housing, are the exact same ones I'm hearing across the aisle. Republicans are just as frustrated with the lack of productive bills coming out of the State House. Our current system isn't thriving the way that we hoped. People are tired of loud, reactive performance politics. They are hungry for a new way of things getting done. The South Carolina Forum creates that space. I ran for office because I value integrity, courage, and servant leadership. I see those same values here. By using a 70% consensus threshold, we move past that narrow partisan wins to find broad and durable agreement. Trust doesn't happen by accident. It happens when the process is sound and everyone, regardless of their zip code, has a seat at the table. Listening is not a weakness, and finding common ground is not naive. It is necessary. If you care about the future of South Carolina, your voice belongs in this process. Let's show the next generation what disciplined, respectful engagement actually looks like. Thank you.
Thank you to Jennifer and Michelle. Thank you to everyone here behind me and the 12,000 plus South Carolinians who have come and investigated, seen for themselves just what the South Carolina Forum is all about. We are so excited to be officially launching this process, this journey with all of you. We are so thankful for our champions who came and have shown up today and are really out in the communities, leading the way, spreading the word, and building those partnerships. Because I will never forget the first South Carolina Forum event that I came to. And I remember sitting around this table, there were 20 folks from all over South Carolina, Republicans, Democrats, all walks of life. And for the first time, breaking bread together, they actually had some of those walls break down and started to see each other as fellow South Carolinians, as people who all wanted the same kinds of things. We heard those same concerns bubbling up, but we also heard some incredible ideas around that table. And that is the power, the strength, and the beauty of the South Carolina Forum. So we are so delighted to have all of you here today and would like to bring Dave and Trav up for questions.
Any questions from the press?
Any questions at all?
How do you break through general voter apathy who are unhappy with the current political system and how it's operating? Get them to actually participate.
I think one of the most important things in that, Joe, is the fact that when you actually give people a voice, we hear as we crisscross the state, I feel like I've lost my political home from so many different groups of people because they say everything's going to the extremes now. Where do I have a place to put my voice? And that's what this is allowing. It's allowing for that voice to have that move back to a center where we can talk about issues, because apathy often happens because of a lack of a sense of understanding, feeling like they're being heard. And so when that doesn't exist, then you end up in this void. We're thinking that this is going to be a place where the void can be filled because we're actually bringing people to the table without the political agenda that you could see from some of the parties.
And I think that the other component to that is that the great thing about this is you don't have to come from a political ideology or a party. This is about bringing people. You don't even have to be registered to vote. This is about bringing people together in a Socratic, deliberative method to simply talk about what ideas or what issues they think should be handled. And when you give people a voice, you can start to chip away at that apathy.
Nick.
After all this and bringing all these people together, it does sound like ultimately what y'all are doing is building mailing lists in 3 early primary states. So what's the ultimate end game of this?
The ultimate end game is to actually help the whole United States of America begin to recognize that the voice of people has got to be centered in what we do in politics. And it cannot be just party driven, it has to be people driven.
And I think inherent in your question demonstrates the cynicism of the body politic in this country and in this state. The fact is that everybody wants to paint us as having either a far right or a far left agenda. The only agenda is to participate. That's it. 5 minutes can determine the future of this state. And so if we create something that catches fire and something that creates or changes the body politic, then we will have done our job.
And we've seen that happen in other states. For example, in St. Louis, Louisiana. Missouri, sorry. St. Louis, Missouri is one of those states.
Democrats know geography.
There you go. Thanks so much. Everybody at home, thanks for watching. But in St. Louis, when the Rams moved to LA, it was a $250 million buyout to move the football team to Los Angeles. That $250 million sat in the pot for a long time. They were trying to figure out what to do with it. Do you do pet projects for everybody, or do you actually start bringing people together? And 19,000 people in St. Louis came together in this same type of deliberative process. And as that happened, it wasn't, we need to work on this pet project and that pet project. What bubbled up from the discussions were, we actually have a water and sewer system that actually needs to be addressed and taken care of, because the system was aging so quickly. And if you don't have the firm infrastructure, how else can you do anything else? And that deliberative process led to that moment when the citizenry came together and said to their local officials, this is what we need. And that's what we're talking about with the South Carolina Forum. The ideas may percolate up from anywhere, but the ideas that matter are the ones that you bring your voice to. And that's why this is so important.
Yep. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. So right now, this is the official launch, and that will come probably towards April, the mid-April mark. But right now, we're still working through all of that stuff. You want to say something?
I would just say that this works in phases.
Yes.
The initial phase on the online deliberative platform will be over the next 2 months.
Right.
And then it'll move into a more face-to-face, in-person phase where we start to work with legislators and we start to refine issues and solutions.
And we've just finished phase 1, which was the pre-launch, making sure that the platform worked, and the testing of that, and some of the beta testing of the various messages, not to create issues, but to get people to come online.
Everything's going to be totally transparent, so you can see where people are coming from, what issues, maybe up in the North Country, what are their issues, what are in the lowlands, what are their issues. So we're going to be able to give out a report so you can see exactly what people are saying about what issues with different communities and different regions.
And part of that is done, quite frankly, at a lot of our requests, because we know that sometimes the needs of the upstate are not necessarily the same needs of the PD, or the PD is not the same as the low country, and the Midland's always different. So that is something that Andrew has been very adamant about, and that is that everything needs to be transparent. And so there will be, hopefully, we've done creating the dashboard so that you can see it.
And that's why we want to see the voices of 100,000 South Carolinians coming into play here. There are 3.7 million registered voters in South Carolina. We're looking for 100,000 people to bring their voice to the table. That's 2.7% of the voting population.
If Bowling Green, Kentucky can do it, the state of South Carolina can.
Absolutely. Other questions?
People already are talking about politics online. But you are describing a little bit of better conversation. Are you coming up with a plan for moderation of online platforms like X or?
Well, I think the interesting part about this project is that once we have the deliberative process online, we're going to move to bring a sampling of that group that looks like South Carolina here to Columbia for 2 or 3 days to talk about the various issues. And that's the beauty of this. Think about it for a minute. If you get independents, swing voters, Republicans and Democrats, and maybe even registered voters who haven't participated, to Joe's apathy comment, you bring those together, 70% of those people have to agree that an issue is important enough, and then it rises to the top. Well, I think there are 2 different purposes. A focus group can be used to determine what a jury thinks. A focus group is determining what a survey or a poll looks like. This has no agenda. This has no agenda whatsoever. Focus groups always have an agenda. This is an actual platform to engage people who feel that their voice is not heard, and it is an opportunity to bring some of those people together in the end to determine what issues they believe that the General Assembly should be focused on. And then our hope and our goal, overarching goal, is that you develop a citizen army to take those issues.
And this is the place where the issues will allow themselves to come to the surface. Unlike what you see on, like, your question about X, is this some other type of different platform? This is a platform for ideas to be brought to the table, not just to have a banter back and forth. This is to let ideas come, share ideas. How do those ideas come together, and what kind of buckets do they exist? Because there's so many different issues that are out there, and what we're trying to do right now is not be agenda driven, but allow the agenda to percolate itself up to the top so that we can know what South Carolinians think and believe. Nick.
So to make it clear, the platform is very interactive, but it's not a situation where you're talking face to face on this platform. It would be like going into a room and writing up your ideas on a Post-it note and putting it on the wall and letting other people go around and say, I like this, voting things up and down, doing research and allowing people to learn about. That's how that water situation in St. Louis came about. Somebody wrote up that idea, did the research, and then people said yes, yes, yes. So it's about building consensus around ideas, and the platform that we're utilizing has been utilized overseas in Great Britain. It's been utilized on that project in St. Louis, and we are using it for the South Carolina Forum. It's called Go Vocal. If you want to check it out, govocal.com is the platform that we're utilizing. They've been working to create this almost in a white label, because we are creating elements of it that they've never done before, specifically for this process, because this is a little bit different.
Oh my God. And are you funding this yourself, or is there a foundation involved?
There are multiple foundations and multiple individuals from both sides of the political spectrum. We've made sure, again, with our Noah's Ark, making sure we have balance. And the key here is that it's just seed funding to get this going. This has to be owned by South Carolina, has to be funded with, I believe, eventually, hopefully, a public-private partnership, getting philanthropists and everyday citizens to give small dollar donations. So this really is owned by the people of South Carolina.
Excuse me for cutting you off, but to the heart of your question, there's not one corporate group or organization that has funded this with an ulterior motive. I wouldn't have been involved if that were the case. And I will tell you this, Andrew might not remember, but the first question I asked him was that. And so we have worked very hard, and all of this is going to be transparent.
So who is funding?
Well, it goes through an organization called One Group, and like Andrew said, there are some organizations that have probably participated in that, but at the end of the day, this is all going to be transparent. You're welcome. Nick gives me a hard time all the time.
Any other questions?